I've been cooking a lot more Korean food at the moment, and I think I love it because of the big and bold flavors that come with it. I'm gonna make a Korean rice bowl, and instead of just using pork mince as the stir fry, I'm actually going to blend it with some mushrooms. As we know, mushrooms are super nutritious. This is a great way to get an extra vegetable into your diet. It's also really economical. So instead of using 500 grams of the pork mince, I'm actually only going to be using 250 grams, and then substituting that with about 250 to 300 grams of delicious button mushrooms. We'll start by frying the pork mince. So I've got some peanut oil. I've been preheating my wok. You want it to be really hot. See how that's smoking? That's what we're after. In with our pork mince. And while that's cooking, let's get onto the mushrooms. Now you can chop these by hand, but I actually like to use a small food processor. It just makes it so much easier because we want these mushrooms to be almost like mincemeat. So cut them in half and then add them to a mini food processor. I also like to do this in batches so it chops them evenly, and we'll give it a blend. See how easy that is to do? And we'll add our mushroom to the mince. And because there's a little bit of moisture in the pork mince and the mushrooms, we do want to fry that off for a good 5 to 6 minutes. So the moisture will come out and then it'll evaporate, and that's what we're after for a concentrated flavour. So we'll add the rest of the mushrooms, just cutting them in half, and then we'll add them to our wok. Okay, in they go. And we'll give that a really good stir. I'll also add a pinch of salt and some pepper. And that smells fantastic. I love the earthiness of mushrooms, and it just goes so well with the pork. All right, while some of that moisture comes out of the mushrooms, let's get on to our onion. So 1 onion or half a large onion, and I'm going to thinly slice it. And I don't add the onion first. I like to add it after the moisture has come out of the mushrooms, just so we get a lovely concentrated flavour there. So nice and thin slice of a red onion. I'll also be adding some ginger, and I'm just going to mince the ginger on a fine grater. We want about a tablespoon. I want a good hit of ginger for this recipe. Great. Now for the all-important sauce. So in a bowl, I'm going to mix some gochujang, which is a fermented chili paste. It's not super spicy. It's got some depth of flavour. It's really lovely. Get a packet of that. You can actually get that at supermarkets now and keep it in the fridge. And it's great for marinades or sauces just like this. To that, I will add some soy sauce. That's just some dark soy sauce, some light soy sauce, just a small amount of fish sauce to give it that extra savoury flavour, and to tie it all together, you need some sweetness. So I've got some honey. You could also use maple syrup for this too. And I will just transfer over to a whisk, and we'll give that a bit of a whisk. And this sauce is just magic with this pork and mushroom blend. Okay, let's have a look at our mushrooms. You can see that all of that liquid has evaporated. It's caramelising. Fantastic. In with our onions and our ginger, and we'll just cook that off for a moment. We don't need caramelisation on those onions. We just want to soften them up. In with our garlic. We'll break up those onions, and still on a high heat, we're just going to cook that off for a moment. And we can add our sauce. So we'll pour that in. And I also like to add a little bit of thickener to this. So a bit of corn flour and water. I've got about a tablespoon of corn flour and a tablespoon of water. And again, just give that a whisk. You don't need too much of this. This is just going to give the mixture a really lovely shine. So we'll pour that in, about half. And you can see that thickens up straight away. It's saucy, but not over saucy. You just want it to be one lovely mixture just like that. Okay, it's ready. Let's turn the heat off and start plating up. So in a beautiful bowl, just like this one, we'll start with our rice. We'll add a big spoonful of that. So a little bit of rice. I like to use some short grain rice. You could use whatever rice you like. To this, I'm going to add a side of lettuce. So lettuce is used a lot in Korean cooking. Just as a side, you could either scoop with it. I just like the freshness of the lettuce leaves, and in particular, butter lettuce leaves. So we'll just use the internal ones. I also like how it looks for presentation as we build the bowl. Okay, in with our mushroom and pork blend. We'll place that at one side, being quite generous with it. You can see this is going to feed 4 people easily. And then to top this off, I like the combination of some carrot. So we'll just add a little bit of carrot on the side. And no Korean dish is complete without some kimchi, which is fermented cabbage. It is so delicious and it's really good for you. So we're going to add a few spoonfuls of that on the side. Fantastic. And for some crunch, I've got some bean sprouts. We'll pop that right in the centre there, just to give it some height. That is a stunning bowl. Midweek dinner at its absolute best. I love the combination of the mushrooms and the pork. I want to taste it, particularly with that delicious sauce. All right, let's have a taste. That is such a delicious blend right there. It's that combination of the mushrooms that really gives it almost like a juiciness. It's not overpowering with a mushroom flavour. In fact, it just works in harmony with that pork. And that delicious sauce just ties it together. That is a delicious dish. It's a win-win the whole family's gonna love.